settle down. Settle down.
No.
All right. Welcome. This is another episode of the Blunderbuss Special. Tonight's a very, very special episode. This is a combination ROBS Garage, inaugural ROBS Garage.
ROBS Garage!
From the permanent ROBS Garage.
Permanent installation.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're doing this show on the slab.
In a half-made building.
Yeah. And this is going to be the new ROBS Garage. This is where we should do new ROBS Garages. Also, we're going to do second round of ROBS Ghost Stories,
yes.
which...
A year later, we're going to attempt this again.
We're going to try, yeah.
We're going to try again. And like I said, we're... as always, let me do the introductions. Is with me the illustrious Nate.
How's it going?
We have the indomitable Rob.
Hey, what's up?
And we have everybody's laughing boy. We got the...
We love you.
Tugger.
We love you, Tugger.
A.K.A.
Steve. Spoils and gravy.
Tug Graverson.
I'm here.
Of course,
Everybody laugh.
Of course, we also have
That's
Sarah here. Sarah, say hello. Hello. Say hello to the mic. Hello. All right. So, Rob, like last time, we were trying to get ghost stories from your family's history. Hopefully, we're going to do... Actually, for the month of October, we're going to try to do all ghost stories. We're, like I said, of course, we're currently trying to get all those in the can.
One a week.
One a week, at least.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave my
Like
haunted
all
shoes
ghost
out of
stories.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have that much hard drive space.
I think if you have any stories at all, Steve, you should bring those to the
Yeah,
board.
no,
Yeah.
Right now.
nothing, no more shoes. No more shoes for the folks
I
who've been
swear
listening all
to
these
God,
years.
I listen to that episode when I'm feeling blue, and it just picks me right up.
No, it's great. It's
You're welcome,
great.
Rob. You're welcome for that,
It's
by
great.
the way.
All right, Rob.
It's good stuff. Good
All right,
stuff.
let's start off
Why
with
aren't you wearing the belt, man?
I got shorts on tonight, man. It's hot. It's hot. Real hot.
We still need to do take a picture of it and do a fucking competition where like people try to guess the the rhinestones on there, what color they are.
They're blue. Piss off.
Anyway,
They are blue.
They're blue. Thank you, Sarah.
I don't know if
Thank
the
you,
mic
Sarah.
picked it up, but she said like his balls.
Thank you, Rob. Golly. Thank you. Yep.
Just wanted to
I'll
clarify.
be here till Thursday. Everybody laugh.
Like his balls.
Damn.
all right. Okay, well now,
Okay.
Try to get-
Speaking
You're
of ghost
trying to
stories,
shoehorn this ghost thing
yeah,
into it, and
goddamn.
it's just fucking.
I'm just like we've been planning, like, all right, we're gonna get, and then great, wait,
There it went.
way to go steal
Off
the
the
thunder
rails, man. Off the rails.
It fucking happens so easily.
with your brown belt and blue balls.
That train. Damn.
And
You're like the black cat of like podcasts. you walk in front of us, and all of a sudden
You fuck everything up.
it's all Babe the Blue Ox and all this.
Stand down, Bob.
All right.
Okay.
Well, okay, let's go back.
I heard.
Okay. You gotta get back to business at hand here.
Okay, Halloween, right?
All right,
So we're doing ghost stories?
Halloween's coming up.
You gotta go into serious.
And yeah, that's
Okay.
okay. So we're all right. Rob, why don't you start off with your family's history, back all the way back in Edinburgh, back in the
No, it's so okay.
I don't know. Something about owls and witches.
See this? We're gonna have to put up with this shit. And I know that you're gonna slip up at some point.
What are you talking? I'm just
And
gonna
it's
sit here.
It's fucking pounce time, motherfucker.
Nah. I'm just gonna sit here. I'm gonna be quiet.
It's all about bearded circus cowboy whip.
yeah, the crazy cowboy woman of.
I
Utah.
swear to God, that's my favorite part of all the episodes you've ever done. Is the way that you fuckers laugh at that kills me every single fucking time.
No, because it was just all the kicking around.
Oh.
It just kept
Did
evolving.
you get comments
It
that
was
we were
evolving.
too hard on Steve on that episode?
No,
nobody puts
Nobody
comments,
puts
man.
comments. It's just like people have asked, and they're like,
We love our listeners.
Yeah.
But you fucking faggots don't leave comments.
and like I was like, it was real funny, but y'all are mean to Steve. But that was a terrible story.
Get the
You know,
fuck
just-
out of
But
here.
they're-
If
but they're
any
like-
of these listeners
did it to
knew him,
himself.
they'd be like, hey, fuck that guy. Go full bore on that motherfucker.
That's right. Hit the punching bag with both barrels, you fucking asshole.
Don't,
a little
look,
bit. A little bit.
don't play victim, bro.
You love it. You love it.
It's
And
whatever.
you're still a good sport about it.
You are. Jesus
That's why we
Christ.
love you.
I'm fucking back, ain't I? I'm fucking back.
Okay.
That's why you're our
For
Tugly.
reference, if you don't know what we're talking about, go back into our collection and look up Polter Shoes. And
Is that the name of the fucking?
Yeah,
that's
it's
the name
called
of the
Polter
episode.
Shoes.
Yeah,
Yes.
man, that's the name of the
Fuck
episode.
you never listened to it?
I haven't listened to it.
Yeah.
Get the fuck.
Oh my god.
I need to go back and listen
I
to it.
blurted it out, and then Rob lost his shit, and he goes, "That's the name of the episode."
That's the
And
name of the episode.
That's what
That's
we named
right
it.
after Steve's belt. We also have that episode.
No.
as well.
Steve's
an
Belt
episode
is
called
after
Steve's-
Polter Shoes.
Yeah,
See
yeah.
what happens
So
when you
to
don't
Polter
listen to
Shoes,
the show that
then-
you're on.
Was I present for that one?
Yes.
Yes,
You're present
motherfucker.
for all of them.
Or was I drinking?
Of course.
Of course, we are all drinking. What do we do when we
What do
sit
we-
here?
what do we do
and we
here?
do this
Yeah.
shit?
That's true.
Like
You've
when-
never listened to Steve's Belt or Polter Shoes?
Yeah,
haven't.
listen to what the God.
I need to.
That's
You know
like-
what? I don't really blame you, to be honest.
That's like
I mean, it is a semi-professional.
It's like watching a video of you getting your fucking ass kicked. For,
oh
an
man,
hour.
they're just getting into me.
Oh my God!
Is that what I got this car from? I don't remember. I blacked out.
I shouldn't be hurt this early from laughing so hard.
I was wondering why that
this
kid.
might be the only laughing you're going to do all fucking episodes.
I was wondering why that kidney was missing.
No, I still got two.
I'm serious.
I
I
just
listen to
think
that
one-
shit when I'm feeling down and blue, and it really picks me up.
No, it's
You might not, but I fucking do, and it's
no. Trust me. You listen to it.
I'm gonna have to listen
You can't
to it.
help but laugh. Like some of the dumb shit. Like I say a lot of dumb shit. And I'm just like, what the fuck is the matter?
What was the one? It was,
makes
it
me
was
laugh.
up Sneaker Creek without a
Without laces.
Without, oh my
Yeah.
god!
It's like, dude, it's like being up Sneaker Creek without laces, and he just lost your shit.
Y'all are terrible human beings. Thank you, Rob, for that.
Fucking Nate was like feeding me Dr. Scholl's lines and fucking.
The ghost of Dr. Schultz. Boo! I don't know how you do that, but you just do your own boo. It's great. It's fucking great.
All right.
So a year later,
A year later.
Hey,
things are still the same.
nothing's changed.
The dynamic is still.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
still
I still
intact.
have the belt.
You know what?
you
You
lo-
champion that fucking belt, man,
I rule it.
because it's
I
your
rock
call,
that shit.
It's your calling card.
That's
sir.
right. I'm gonna go buy another one.
Were you here the
You
other night that
flashed
chick
it,
came
them-
back
them gems,
and she gave him shit about that belt?
Dude,
Yeah, no,
she
yeah, I
came,
was here. Yeah,
It was
she
fucking
left. Oh my
hilarious.
god.
They
She
left.
fucking left and came back.
And
Yes.
Then they
That
like
shit was brutal.
they did like a 180 degree like burnout to get back to the house.
So to explain,
That shit was. They were throwing rocks in the driveway, man, to get back here.
Explain to everybody. I explained if those of you who haven't listened to the Steve's Belt episode, check that shit out, and then understand that I told that to a coworker. I told that story to a coworker. My coworker laughed so hard that he told his wife. So
really?
after telling his wife, they came to a barbecue that I
Nate,
had
were you here for that, Nate?
at our house. You were here.
Yeah, you're here.
Which barbecue?
The one that
Oh,
where
it was
the
a
chick
birthday
came
party.
back.
The birthday party where you had the
yes.
jump house.
So then,
Yeah, the
Yeah.
guy with the red beard.
yeah, my buddy,
Yes.
not Redbeard Blonde.
What's his name?
My
Brian.
buddy Brandon.
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 Yeah. No, that's right. I remember that. And you're like,
So
dude,
Brandon
she came back. Here
Brandon
just to
tells
say
his
that
wife
shit.
Chelsea.
Oh my god,
They leave, and I guess in the car leaving my house, he's like, "That was the guy that had the belt." She starts laughing. They get down like a mile away, turn around, come all the way back.
I shit you
She
not.
gets out
I
of the
shit you
car.
not.
We're sitting around a fire, drinking beer, having telling stories, having
Yeah.
some laughs. Comes up to Steve and says, "Hey, I just want to let you know I really like your belt."
Then walks away.
And fucking
Yes.
gets
And
in her
walks
car
away.
and walks away.
She walks off. I was like, what the fuck?
Fucking-
And Rob's like, dude,
I did not
he
have
just
enough
told her that.
cream to put on that burn.
Home run hitter.
Oh man, And
Dude, that was a stand-up double.
did you tell them to listen
Stand
to
up
the
double
episode?
my balls.
No.
She fucking inside the park home run that shit.
We had to like Google.
Dude,
we had
dude.
Google Maps for the local burn centers,
Dude.
and we had to go down there.
She blew the laces out, man.
I have
It was
never
just
seen
silly
a,
string. That's all it was.
I've never seen a
Leather
group of
cases
people
of the
laugh
string.
that hard
It was harsh.
man.
Even your old man laughed,
at
Rob.
one
Oh.
sentence. Jesus Christ, it was beautiful.
Oh, Sarah, your dad was dying. He was dying. He,
No,
he
no, no,
almost
no,
fell out
not
of his chair.
Danny. Bob.
No, yeah, no, he died
Bob was
too.
falling out of his
They were
chair.
both just like,
Like to appreciate the whole thing, you have to understand the commitment it takes to drive a mile out of your way to tell somebody that they're a faggot.
Well, that didn't take long, did it, folks?
That is something else. Like 2 weeks after that, they're in Cavender's And they,
Yes,
my buddy,
yes,
yeah,
yes. You sent me that picture.
my
sent
buddy
me the
sends me a
picture.
picture of him with a woman's belt, looking remarkably like your belt.
It was not a woman's belt.
What was not a woman's belt?
The one that he had on.
The one that he had on?
Yeah.
Dude, that was a woman's belt.
You're a liar.
That's a woman's belt in the woman's section of Cavender.
No, that-
Why the fuck would he send it to me if it's a picture of a man's belt?
Because for some reason that large motherfucker was standing in the junior husky section of Sheplers.
With the fabulous belt.
Yes.
Fabulous.
You can't fucking take my joke and fucking tell it back to me, motherfucker.
Whatever, dude. That almost made you fall out of your chair with that.
That was my fucking joke from like 5 years ago. That shit is fucking hysterical.
Oh my
That
God.
shit lands every time.
The junior husky section.
Every
of
time.
fucking-
Junior husky
Sheplers.
section of Sheplers.
That's it, fucking story.
shit.
No, you didn't.
So when he worked with us, when he worked with me, homeboy would bring his own fucking jeans. They would issue you jeans, and they would issue us Dickies jeans, right? So this fucking dumbass, instead of
Oh man, I don't want to spit this fucking drink all over the equipment. It's like, hold on, wait. Give me a minute. Give me a minute.
so this motherfucker would go and buy himself Wranglers and wear them to work every day. So when it came time for uniforms, I would stand next to him in line in the uniform line and tell him he wears my size pants. And so when he would get his pants in, he'd fucking give them to me, and I'd wear them all year long.
Is that kind of like MySpace? My size pants?
Shut the fuck up. So this motherfucker would go.
Rob was just trying to get in my pants.
Where would you go, to Walmart or
What?
where to get your pants?
Cavender's.
I thought you were just Sheplers.
No, fag.
You went to the junior husky section and fucking
Yeah, but you
Sheplers.
just made up that joke.
For those of you
Back
that,
for the back.
for those of you that aren't aware, Steve is what, 5'2"?
Eat my ass. I'm 5'8".
So I said,
Blow out your ass.
So somebody at work says, well, you don't wear the jeans that issue us? He says, no. They go, where do you get them? I said, he gets them at the junior husky section at Sheplers. And these motherfuckers laughed for days.
It was days.
Oh my God, I miss working at a shop.
Here we are like 4 years later, and we're still laughing about
That
the fucking
shit's
junior
funny every
husky
time.
section of Sheplers.
Hey, Halloween special. Come on, guys. That was a hell of a segue, wasn't it?
You know what? I guess we are supposed to be doing that.
Sarah's fucking wiping tears out of her eyes. This is fantastic. This couldn't go any better.
Well, it's the ghost of the junior
The
husky
ghost
section.
of Steve Past.
No, you know what? It's
Fuck you, the ghost of Steve present, motherfucker. You still suck.
what's the dude with the shoes? Wasn't Randy? What's his name?
Sonny.
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 Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
haunting you because you threw away his shoe.
Yeah, just
So to be mocked.
He's
forever.
haunting your Wranglers. You know that burn you feel in the front of your jeans?
that's not a tiny chub you're getting.
That burn is not Sonny, I'll tell you that.
He's upset about that shitty ghost story you stole.
It wasn't that fucking skank you picked up at the China Grove General Store.
No, it was
That woman was lovely. Lovely.
She seemed nice. When she put her teeth in, she was cool.
It's a velveteen rub.
That's right.
Velveteen rub.
So did you like your gummy bears?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes she told me a long story without a point. Then she give me Werther's Originals.
We got along great. I would tell her stories, no points. She would tell me stories, no points.
Then she'd send me home with a Lunchable and a box of juice. Then she sent me $12 on my birthday every year.
I'd fuck her up with a now and later.
We make sweet love on her craft-maticable adjustable bed.
On her hospital bed that she got from Obamacare. You ever fucked a woman in a reclining bed?
Obamacare.
While you're sweet talking
No,
on
man,
her
I hit the
Obama
high class
phone.
one. This shit's Medicare, man.
Yeah.
We would be intoxicated on orange metamucil mimosas.
Holy shit, Bob's on a run.
Rub.
Yeah, you
Bob's rolling.
That's
Bob's
it,
rolling. Keep
dude.
going, Bob.
Gotta
Keep
drink-
going.
gotta drink that emergency, man.
I'd rub that Bengay in her shoulders to make it sensual.
It's like,
Turn on a little Mercy wrote. We would afterwards we'd
Turn on Lawrence Welk.
You never seen a woman come alive till you put on Hank Williams Jr. and watch her fucking shake her walker around.
She'd live Conway Twitty. We'd
It was that Pompadour, man. It was that
we'd,
Pompadour.
we'd dine at the early bird special at the Luby's. And took her home.
Nothing gets the pussy wet like Bocephus.
Gotta get that Luann platter. Get that Luann platter.
Take her down to the local Luby's. What's that? The fucking country buffet.
Hit that matinee at the local cinema show.
Local dollar movie. She never seen Raiders of the Lost Ark. She enjoyed it.
Had her in bed by 5:30.
5:30. Had her in bed by 5:30. Wouldn't go to sleep till 7.
Bitch sucked dick till Sunday morning. Can't stop.
Took out her teeth and never tan.
Every time.
This is the worst Halloween special we've had.
It is.
Ever.
It's the
God.
worst.
Ever.
You know what?
Second anniversary Halloween show. Not a single scary thing.
You ever try to find a pair of dentures underneath the futon? It's like going catfish hunting.
Catfish hunting. It's cat fisting.
Ghost story you ever heard.
Hold on. Sarah's talking. Somebody give her a mic.
What was the first ghost story you ever heard?
Speaking to the mic.
What was the first ghost story I ever heard?
Well, okay.
If it has anything to do with my goddamn belt, I'm going to punch somebody.
All right.
I stopped. So don't get
You know,
so butthurt and ass
we
angry
might have to
over it.
just continue on this in the next show.
You know what? Fuck it. We're just gonna run with it because
Run with it because
this
we're
this
already
show
halfway
is
through,
scary
right?
enough as it
We
is.
we can't be halfway through.
No, we're not. We're
Are we?
just over a quarter.
We're a quarter. All right. Maybe
Hit them ghost stories, man. Tell us something about a white owl and a Mexican.
Well, you showed up one day.
Wow. Wow.
You should put that inflection on it and everything. You just
Wow.
you're getting kind
That was pretty racist.
of angry.
It's not racist when it's towards white people. You fuckers are a
I said
punching
it to
bag.
you, Steve. What the fuck?
That's white on white racism.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not Polish.
There you
So,
go.
Okay, it's
All right.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Kraut fuck.
That's right. I am more kraut than Italian. So fuck
Heil.
yourself.
All right, Rob.
right.
Let's hit it, buddy.
Now the boner killer has
All right, okay.
totally
Oh.
ruined the role.
Okay. All right. Since we're getting back down to business and we've the Steve's belt train's been derailed
For now.
Thank
for now.
Christ.
For now.
All right, Rob. Let's start off with family history, Edinburgh.
Well, I think all of this is kind of it's all kind of like structured around the Hispanic culture and all that kind of stuff like that. So I was born in a small town in South Texas, Edinburgh, Texas, and my grandfather was born in that town. And I think part of the whole Hispanic or Mexican American tradition has a lot to do with that kind of superstition, spiritual belief. There's a lot of like ghost stories that travel around in the culture. I mean, you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
right?
I know what you
Yeah. So
Yeah, me and Nate are lost.
Shut the fuck up. Don't let me into your shit. Are you trying to start round 2?
Sorry.
Oh, that was round 1. I don't know if I can handle round 2. My guts hurt.
So, I think, like, because I was raised in that tradition and that culture, like a lot of I enjoy stories like that. I just kind of have I take to them a little bit, and my favorite ones are my family stories. You know what I mean? The things that involve people that I know and things like that. And so, I have some stories, and for the most part, I think that a lot of it's tied to faith. A lot of it's tied to, your own personal beliefs and afterlife and, all that kind of stuff like that. And I don't know how you feel about it, but I have a certain faith and it's kind of tied to all this stuff. So I guess how you believe it is or what you believe is kind of subjective, So I think the first ghost story that I was ever told was they always came from my dad. My dad always had the best, kind of scary stories.
He does.
Fucking terrifying.
It's
Yeah.
like, holy shit.
Yeah, he's
You cannot sleep.
he's a different kind of dude. But again, like it's all tied to his faith too. And the stuff that, like, when he tells you the story, he believes it because it's intact in his in his mind. It's all part of his belief structure. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's a part of it, and that's a huge part of it. San Antonio's big on ghosts and all that kind of stuff like that, and we lived on the northwest side of town. We lived off of Bandera Road or adjacent to Bandera Road, and there was the Onion House.
The Onion House. I've heard of that fucking place,
which
man.
which was on Ben.
Yeah.
It still is. It's on Bandera Road.
It's still there.
Yeah.
It's still
Is
there.
it really?
Yep.
I heard it was torn
Still
down
there.
years ago. Oh fuck, we need to go.
No, it's
check
still
that
there.
shit
As a
out.
matter of fact, somebody bought it years ago and tried to remodel it and turn it into something. And
Really?
yeah, they kind of redid the front of it and all this kind of stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And actually, my Little League field where we play Little League was right behind it. So if you're on Bandera Road, you can see the Onion House, and immediately behind that was our Little League baseball field. So the first ghost story I was ever told was about the Onion House.
What's the story?
The story essentially was that the man that owned that house was the man's name, I believe, was Hebner, as a matter of fact. Which a major street in San Antonio is named Hebner.
Yeah.
And that house was built like in the 1860s or 70s, and it's a big stone house. It's got big giant timber
Framing.
rafters inside of it and things
Yeah.
like that. But the exterior of it is a white stone. It's like a limestone kind of deal.
Huh.
And the story that exists today about the house was that the man that owned that house, that built that house, that house was a way station for stagecoach operators. So
Yeah, I think so.
So that house was kind of everyone going to Fredericksburg, going to Castroville, going to all these little towns on the
Gonzales
outskirts.
and all that, yeah.
And of course, at that time, that house was out in the middle of nowhere. Of course, it's in a big, major urban area now. But that man Hebner, who owned the home, and I could be wrong about the name, but he was a very a cantankerous person, and all this kind of stuff like that. But that guy was a pretty severe alcoholic, and at one point ingested an entire case of kerosene because he thought it was alcohol
Oh wow.
and died. And so, as a matter of fact,
He
there's
didn't smell it.
yeah.
Well, that old cranky bastard probably didn't have any smell.
There's a book. There
Censored,
used to be
yeah.
a book. It was called Spirits of South Texas and San Antonio.
A friend of mine's got.
By
Good book.
the lady's name is Schultz. The author was Dulcia Schultz.
I have that book.
The cover of that book actually has the Onion House on the front of it,
Oh really?
and the ghost of Mr. Hebner, or whoever it is on the front of that book. That was the first ghost story, and it scared the shit out of me for some reason. I don't know why, but because I could see the house. My dad would tell me, he's in there.
He's
what I
like,
mean?
hey man, you see that house?
exactly,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And for many, many years, the house never. The front door of it was off the hinges, and you could see immediately into the house.
Yeah.
And so driving past it or walking past it, the he's in there thing was like, holy shit. You know what I mean? I'm 10 or 20 steps away from being, amongst the ghosts or whatever.
Yeah. Or in the house of damnation. Or
Right.
Whatever. Yeah. Kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
My family has always told ghost stories and had a lot of things like that. Or, my grandmother's house that she lives in to this day was purchased from, I believe it was the
Church.
Presbyterian Church, and it was
She's got a house that's built out of an old church.
well, no, it was owned by the
Oh, okay.
minister of the Presbyterian Church.
Okay.
And the minister lived there with his family,
Uh huh.
and it was sold to my grandparents in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, and it is a trip of a house to be inside. You know what I mean? It's just got a vibe to it that's not. It's otherworldly.
It's just
you know
like
what I mean?
that kind of that mixed with like a particular kind of like construction kind of layout or something like that, or
No.
it just feels weird.
It just feels weird. The whole house just feels weird. And, the last time we were doing this, I was telling a story about when my dad was in high school, the backyard of that house butted up to an alley. And that alley, one day, my dad comes home from school, and there's this big white bird on the telephone wire.
Yeah. I remember
And
this one.
He goes inside and he tells my grandmother, hey, there's, this is a big white ugly bird outside. And she goes outside, she starts swearing at it, and, because It's, part of the tradition that you...
Well, try to run it off.
Right.
Yeah.
And so she tells my father, go inside and get your rifle and shoot it off the wire. But I goes inside, gets the rifle. Of course, he's in high school,
Yeah.
and shoots the bird off the wire. And the following day, he's told to leave it alone. Don't go chase it down. Don't try and find it or whatever. Bird falls in the alley. The following day, he's told, okay, go and bring back what you find. My dad always told me, like, I didn't understand what that meant. Bring back what you find, whatever.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
All right, whatever,
right.
Yeah.
He goes into the alley. There's no bird. There's no feathers. There's no nothing.
Not even an ant trail.
What there is a 3.5 foot long braid, a braid of a woman's hair in the alley. You know what I mean? And the I guess the tradition is that these birds, these beings or whatever they are,
La Chusa.
yeah, yes, are witches that are able to change into birds, and that this, whatever.
Right.
I had an uncle in the 60s worked for the San Jose public school system. He was a janitor, that kind of thing. And he's walking around. It was when they first installed central AC systems in schools. And he goes to work one day, and they had installed these big chain link fences completely surrounding the central air systems.
Yeah.
Because people were stealing the copper and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
That's still bad to this day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So at one point, in the parking lot of the school, he finds a bird, this big white bird, and it's laying between two cars. And he's like, holy shit, look at this thing. It's huge. And he picks up the bird, and he takes it, and he puts it inside this enclosure.
Yeah.
And he puts, a little bowl of food and a little bowl of water, leaves for the weekend. Comes back Monday morning at like 5 o'clock in the morning when it's still dark. There's no bird in there anymore. Instead, there's this naked woman laying on the floor. Now, when I was told the story, I was like, well, that's
fuck
fucking
outta here,
horseshit.
yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
That same uncle of mine was like actually institutionalized for this. He went fucking nuts.
Oh, wow.
He was unable to talk for a number of years. You know what I mean? It's just, and if you ever met the guy, he was one of the most solid, like, corner guys you've ever met in your entire life. You know what I mean?
Hey, just man out of granite.
Yeah, exactly. Completely like practical, non-bullshitting. You know what I mean? Didn't believe in horseshit. You know what I mean?
This is enough to rock him to his core, basically.
Exactly.
Wow.
Fucked him up.
Oh, that's crazy.
Bad.
That's crazy.
Another one that still kind of freaks me out to this day was my grandfather is one of 13 children.
God, man.
He was born in
a lot.
he was born in the early 40s, and he was surviving. There was 14 children born, 10 survived.
Wow.
So among the surviving children, he's ninth.
Hmm.
And he's the second to last born that survived to adulthood.
Right.
So my grandfather, when he was a little boy, very, very young, his father was... his father had a lot of mental problems. He was a degenerate gambler. He wasn't so much a drinker, but he was a degenerate gambler.
Yeah.
And during the war, in the Second World War, excuse me, he was actually he had a job as a street sweeper, which was a thing back then. You know what I mean? He would carry around an ash can and sweep the streets.
Yeah.
And I think that came as like a little bit of embarrassment to the rest of the family that he was like a street sweeper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they grew up in a 1-room house behind my great grandmother's. She had a store. She had like a general store.
Okay.
My great grandmother's general store.
Yeah.
And so as one of 9 kids, they lived in one room. They slept essentially in 2 beds. All these kids. Their father was kind of absentee. He wasn't generally around all that much.
Mm-hmm.
And my great-grandmother died in childbirth, giving birth to their 14th child, who also died.
Wow.
So my grandmother actually died in the late 40s, in like 1948.
Mm-hmm.
So all of my grandfather and his brothers and sisters were essentially raised by an absentee father and their grandparents. Okay. Well, my great-grandfather, because he was a bit of a degenerate gambler and itinerant father and all this kind of stuff like that, as my grandfather tells it, he had a habit of when he came home at night, he would count his children. Because,
Well, that's a lot.
yeah. In order to make sure that they were all home and safe,
Mm-hmm.
he would simply count the heads of his children. Make sure there's 9, and then he can go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't go to bed until he had all of his 9 children were present and accounted for.
Wow.
My great-grandfather died in 1957. He hung himself in his little apartment.
Yeah.
Again, he was a manic depressive. He had a lot of mental issues and things like that. And
Is that the one where your dad had the photo, the movie of it, the photo?
No, that was my brother.
no. As a matter of fact, that kind of comes into play what we're talking about here. Before he died, 2 of his sons died. So my grandfather's brothers, he had 2 brothers, Edward and Valdemar, Eduardo and Valdemar. My uncle Edward was drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, I remember you telling. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
I'm sorry, my uncle Balde was drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
In 1954-55. And to celebrate, he drove to Reynosa, Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Got drunk with a friend of his,
My cousin.
and a cousin of mine, and driving back, he hit a palm tree and was impaled by the stick shift of the truck, and he was killed in I believe it was Mission.
It's tragic.
The other son,
It's terrible.
Edward, was killed in Korea
Wow.
after the war. He had a German girlfriend he was stationed in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And had a German girlfriend in town, and snuck off the base to visit his little German girlfriend.
Yeah.
And was sneaking back onto the base when the MPs. There was a bridge leading up to the base. The
Yeah.
MP shot him, and he fell into the river. And he was found 3 days later. He had drowned in this river.
Wow.
Okay.
Son of a bitch.
In 1998, my Uncle Joe died.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my Uncle Joe was one of my older uncles,
Yeah.
and he was the first of my grandfather's brothers to die since my great-grandfather had died.
Yeah.
Now, a little background. My grandfather is a non-bullshitter, non-believer.
I've met him.
He's a completely practical man. 2
Yeah.
plus 2 is 4, and 4 plus 4 is 8.
Everything's cut and dry.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And the story goes that my grandmother was going to visit her mom in a nursing home, my great-grandmother. And before she left, she had made a stack of tortillas and set them on the counter. Because when my grandfather woke up from his afternoon nap, he would get himself some tortillas and beans, make himself something, and go back to work or do whatever he did. And when she got home, my grandfather was in shambles.
Mm-hmm.
Just out of, pulling his hair out. And she asked, what's going on? What's wrong? And my grandfather said somebody came to the door, knocked on the door, and when I answered it, there was a man standing there. Now, when my great-grandfather died in 1957, my grandfather was 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother asked him, well, who was it? Who came there? He says, my dad was there. And I opened the door and I asked him, who are you? And he says, I'm your father. He says, aren't you going to invite me in? Of course, in Spanish,
Yeah.
And he said, of course. And he let him in the house. And he said, what is this? What's happening? And he says, I can't find my son. And he says, what do you mean? He says, my son Joe. He says, I've counted all of my sons, and I cannot find my son. He says, 7 boys. And I only count 6. And he says, well, Joe's gone. Joe died. He's passed. And he said, well, then where is he? I can't find him. He says, he's gone. He's passed. He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And that this person could not see like his children, it's hard for me to explain.
It's like you just couldn't get past.
Well, that
I
I guess in our faith, we believe that when you commit suicide,
Yeah.
you neither go to heaven nor hell.
Well, you're stuck in purgatory.
So he's in a world in between our world,
Right.
Right.
and that
In limbo.
in limbo.
Limbo, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And so that he can see his sons that are dead, and he can see his sons that are living.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or he knows that the ones that died are dead,
Yeah.
but the one that died since his sin,
Yeah.
he can't see.
Hmm.
And again, my grandfather he's not a guy to fuck with you or bullshit you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And he says, he asked him, where was he? Where's he been and how's he doing and what's going,
Yeah.
And he said that the place that he lives is very cold and it's far, far away, and that he cannot sleep until he finds his son.
Oh, that's fucked up.
And he fed my great-grandfather these tortillas that my grandmother had made him with beans and
Yeah.
this and that, and walked him out and set him on his way. And I don't know if that story's true. And I don't know what it means. But the older I get, I understand almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this guy, this piece of shit person, the only thing that's important to him in the hereafter, is his children.
Yeah.
And and all of my uncles and aunts by now have passed on, and
Yeah.
that thing has never happened since. But the first time that this occurred, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think that whatever the spirit was, understood that he can't see what the place that he is, that kind of shit.
That's
That
heavy.
story always fucked with me.
That's heavy, man.
Shit.
That's deep. Shit.
I don't know. What would you kind of almost consider maybe I'm reaching kind of like the allegory of the cave?
Well,
Everything's going on. I don't know. Maybe
yes,
I'm
like he
reaching
can only see what's
right there.
what's
but he
right there in
can't be-
front. Right.
But
Well-
everything over here, it's no. Maybe that's not a good way.
I think that maybe more than that. Look, if it is bullshit, then what it means is that my grandfather believes
Yeah.
that his father is not in heaven and not in hell.
Yeah.
That he's in this other place, which is even fucking sadder.
Well, it's a
Then-
eternal wandering.
Yes. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's almost worse than hell
Exactly.
because he's worried, as a spirit.
And he can't find what he seeks.
Right.
Exactly.
Yet it's right there.
Yeah.
That's so fucking crazy.
That's chilling.
But I mean,
That shit hits you in the core, man.
Well, and like to my family, we're very close, and we love each other very much, and our children are, of course, sacred to us and all that kind of stuff. But we always had the impression that was not the case with our great grandparents.
Yeah.
That they were maybe not even with my great grandmother, but with my great grandfather. Certainly, it was the belief that he was a fucking, he's a gambler and
degenerate.
Yeah, exactly. And it was this. We got this sense of, holy shit, he was like us. Like we got it from somewhere. Like we.
Yeah.
Well,
You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
it's
The source.
he might not have always, quote unquote, been there,
Exactly.
but the fact that this
Yeah.
spirit is wandering, trying to find this other individual, it showed that he cared.
Well, and look, even as a
he was
concoction.
he was a loving father.
Yes. Even as like a concoction.
Yeah.
Like if my grandfather dreamt it up,
Right.
like what a beautiful thing to dream.
Right.
Like my dad cares about us. Finally. You know what I mean?
Well, not even.
You know,
Not finally. It's.
I guess
he
I can
never
relate to
showed
that.
it.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like
He,
even
he cared, but he didn't show it.
yes. And that's what I'm
And to be honest with you, I mean that's the way it was.
Yeah.
The mother was always at home,
yeah.
and the father was out doing
It was
what he
different,
did.
It was
Yeah.
a different time.
It was a different time.
Well, and see apparently the man had a lot of problems and wasn't mentally healthy. Apparently he spent a lot of time in San Antonio here at the Nut Hut here on Pressa.
the Nut Hood.
The Laughing Academy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Kevin.
It's a state hospital.
Yeah.
The
There
state
you go.
hospital
Yeah.
for the mentally ill.
Yeah, I was down there by the old tracks.
Yeah, because it was not the first time that he tried to kill himself,
Wow.
and those people just had a very, very hard life. They lived in South Texas in the 40s and in the 30s.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure the medicine and the study
Well, the methods
wasn't
of
down
treatment-
there. Exactly.
The methods of treatment.
It wasn't down in that area yet. That was a very
Well, it's not even
almost third world area part of Texas.
Absolutely was.
That. Well,
I mean,
wasn't
technically,
even
it's still northern Mexico.
Well,
I mean, it's
but
a third world area.
The methodology at that
Well-
time was completely way
Right.
different and alien from what it is today.
there was a study that's
it's like throwing rocks at it,
Yeah.
and I read this about 15 years ago, and I didn't believe it until I saw a lot of information to back it up. But that Lyndon Johnson in the late 60s started an initiative to try and get basic services to rural places in South Texas.
Yeah.
Meaning basic utilities, water and electric.
Yeah.
My dad was saying that he came to Texas in the early 70s. And a lot of houses didn't have indoor plumbing.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even that far.
Right.
It's not that far south.
So but
My great aunt, up until probably, hell, I'm going to say 10 years ago, still had an outhouse.
well but and again,
They
You're-
didn't have a running bathroom in their home.
You're talking about extraordinarily poor people.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And you're talking about a time where maybe the only thing that you have is family, is a sense of community,
Yeah.
is a sense of belonging somewhere or something, if that. And so you're talking about these people who essentially have nothing and who are trying to build some kind of... Our culture is based on... I mean, I hate to be like base and crude, but our culture to a certain degree is based on poverty. You know?
yeah.
No, that's exactly what it is.
Well,
And-
poverty.
That's
and-
exactly what it is.
you know, when I was
superstition.
yeah.
trying
when
to
I was-
explain everything. Yeah.
when I was growing up, we had our faith,
yeah.
and our faith was centralized around like our love of God and our love of community and love of family, because we didn't have anything else.
Right.
And all of that has to do with, like, I mean, shit, Christianity is based on poverty. It's based on, the medieval sense of we have nothing,
Yeah.
but we have...
We all need to come together and
Right.
each other.
We're so poor, we only have one God.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like my mom told me. I think it was my great grandparents' place. They would go visit the farm, and whatnot. And she said down on the property there was I guess a stream or river that ran through there, and certain times of the year, gypsies would come through there.
Yeah.
And this is up in Missouri. I mean, you would think gypsies and shit, but she said they would come through there and they'd camp down by the water and stuff. And she's like, when we were down there, as kids, they would tell us it's like don't go anywhere near the gypsies because children would disappear. I mean, this is what early mid 50s. I mean, shit like that happened. And she's like, of course the kids would be curious and they always kind of, but they would never get close enough because. It's kind of the boogeyman kind of thing, but those things did happen.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff.
Yes, they did.
I think all of our superstition, all of our belief, it comes from a practical place. You know what I mean?
Speaking of superstition, you had mentioned something to me about certain candles.
Yeah.
In y'all's belief system.
Like
our
prayer candles and all.
Well, yeah, like an Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Yeah.
Dark, like dark magic kind of things.
Santeria?
Curandismo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, for example, culturally, the in my kitchen right now is the Virgen de Guadalupe. Mm-hmm. And the Virgen de Guadalupe is on the picture that stands in my kitchen right now, it says Emperatriz de Norteamérica, Reina de Mexico is what it says. And it basically the Queen of Mexico, Empress of North America. So she is our our cultural
patron
deity,
saint,
you know what I mean? Our patron saint.
Yeah.
And so that we, our votive candles and things like that, like we show our I was raised to praise the Virgin Mary before I was raised to pray to Jesus.
Yeah.
And that's a Catholic thing, maybe.
Yeah.
I
think the patron saint of our, at least in my mom's village is San Judas.
Yeah.
And he's the patron saint of lost causes.
Yeah.
Because
There
to
you
tell
go.
you how really poor they are.
He's also the patron saint of police officers. He's also the patron saint of firemen. Yeah,
Yep.
Saint
Yeah.
Jude. Yeah. I knew saints better than I knew baseball players when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Right.
They collected the saint cards.
Yeah.
Tops had a special version.
Saints were
Special edition.
I'll trade you a St. Jude for St. Thomas. Not if you throw in a St. Jude in there.
And to this day, I wanted to name our son. I wanted to name him Francis because our, St. Francis of Assisi. He was my hero when I was growing up. He was who I identified with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This prince.
Francisco.
I want to name him Pancho.
Pancho.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Ah, you realize we would have called him Pancho Villa. Pancho Villa, get over here.
Oh man, then we make him
Corner page.
a little
Corner
bandolero.
page.
Oh, man.
But
Totally would have done it. Full of bubblegum and shit like that. And Jolly Ranchers.
Full of Nerf bullets.
I just identified with that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, it was part of my faith. It was
Well, that's how you're
and
raised.
it still
yeah.
is. And all of that stuff, it all of these stories that I'm telling you that, you know what I mean, and they all came with and praise the Virgin, everything worked out for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything, historically or culturally, the lechuza comes to sinners who commit the worst of the sins. You know what I mean? They come to claim you.
Yeah.
The what?
The bird, the lady bird, the witch.
Lechuza?
Oh, okay.
She comes to claim the worst of the sinners. You know what I mean? She's there she's the harbinger of the end. You know what I mean? When I was in college,
So is that where put the egg under the bed and
that's part of it.
That's
all
it's,
that-
it's something
Part of
different.
it.
That's-
I mean, it's something different, but I mean, you could certainly,
I guess wraps into it, I
yeah.
guess.
But I mean,
It's more,
Interesting.
Buddha
Very interesting.
kind of stuff.
Anyway,
but again,
College.
okay, when I was in college, I went to UTSA, so back then, but years ago, UTSA was a little bit in of a secluded area. It's kind of rural. as a matter of
almost
fact.
rural.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Same with your high school.
yeah. As a matter of fact,
Yeah,
And
that outer loop of 1604 is that was
it's blown up,
farmland,
it's
man.
retarded.
it was for
Farmland.
a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, now you got the La Cantera out there.
Oh, stop what you're doing. There's hope. There's
I couldn't help it. You got the rim job, and then
apartments
down
and-
the way it's La Cantera and shit.
all kinds of crazy stuff out there.
Going to study group one night. I'm going down. I think it's Edward Jimenez Parkway or something or other, and I'm driving down this little windy road going to the college.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been. It might have been UTSA
it?
Boulevard. It might have
Yeah,
been.
but it was probably not called that back then.
I don't know.
No,
I don't know. Anyway,
I don't know.
I'm going down the street. It's this little windy 2-lane street, and there's a street light. And under the street light, there's 2 white owls,
Here we go.
and they're
I've heard this story. This is creepy, man.
the owls are either mating with each other or they're fighting, and it looks like they're fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Their wings are going all over the place. It doesn't look like they're mating at all.
Kind of like you stop and check out the show. It's
Yeah,
getting
right.
interesting. Yeah,
But
They're
it's
not making love.
it's dark, and I'm going down the street, and they're they're immediately underneath the street light, and I mean inches away from the bulb, and they're they're kind of going back and forth, and they're dipping and moving all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm going and I'm getting nearer to them, I'm slowing down, and they're kind of hovering down closer to the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going and I'm going and I'm just mesmerized by this. And as I'm right on top of them, they get down low enough to where I fucking hit them with the windshield of the car.
Were you in your Galaxy, right?
No, I was in my Thunderbird.
Your
As a matter of fact.
Thunderbird.
It was a red Thunderbird.
Thunderbird.
Fancy.
And I hit those fucking birds, and I
White
shit you
privilege.
not, I my hand to God, when I hit those birds, it was like someone took a fucking balloon, like a circus balloon, full of blood, and popped it on my windshield. It was just enormous, the amount of blood.
Sounds like a B movie kind of shit.
It was
Just-
fucking.
Yeah.
I tried to turn the wipers on to get it off my windshield, and I just kept going, because I didn't want to stop, because raised with the owl superstition, and got to where I was going. I was actually going to school to meet up with people for a study group, and they lived at the apartments there at the school. Got to the apartment, immediately called home, and told my mom, I fucking hit these 2 owls that were fighting in the dark, and I had to have killed them both.
Mhm.
And my mom's, just come home as soon as you can.
Like,
just
get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Throw
leave,
deuces on them bitches.
I leave the apartment, get in the car, start driving. I pass the fucking street light. There's no birds. There's no nothing. There's not a feather, not a fucking thing. What there is there's 2 fucking patches of blood on either side of a space that's exactly as wide as a fucking Ford Thunderbird. You know what I mean?
That's so fucked up, man. That's
And
so
I-
fucked up.
I went straight home, and my dad immediately sat me down and says, "What the fuck have you been doing?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Well, this shit comes to. This is a message."
yeah.
Uh,
It's an omen, I guess.
Yeah, a bad omen.
And
of some
I
kind.
told my dad, I was like, "Dad, that wasn't about me. I don't think it was about me." And my dad goes, "You know what? What was happening?" I said, "It looked like they were fighting the birds."
Mhm.
And of course, my dad's like, "I don't think it's about you. I think you just walked into something." You know what I mean?
You walked in the bar at the wrong time.
Yeah,
Good
right,
shit, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
No shit.
Wrong place, wrong time.
It fucked me up,
But
man.
you saved somebody's ass, apparently.
I'm gonna fucking tell this story, and it's not. It's a hard fucking story for me to tell. But it happened. One night at my house, my parents leave for the evening. They're gonna go drinking and dancing and all this kind of shit like that. And I'm there at my mom's house alone, and I'm sitting in the backyard, and I'm kind of talking on the phone with my girlfriend, and I'm having I'm drinking a couple beers or whatever, and I hear an owl. I just hear the, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And hoo hoo hoo, but it's getting closer, and I'm going, Jesus Christ, what is going? And I'm starting to get nervous, and you know, blah 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 blah. And like an asshole, I call my mom. You know, Mom, I hear an owl. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, it's like go-to.
And of
It's
course,
like, hey, you know,
there's nightclub music in the background and all that kind of shit like that. You know. So I fucking. I kind of get a little.
That's terrible.
I'm kind of getting a little bit more freaked out, and I can hear the owl outside my back door, but I can't see it. And now it's like it's literally getting closer and closer to the house.
yeah.
And just as it's about to drive me fucking nuts, the front door swings open, and my dad and mom come in their fucking Saturday night gear and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. My dad says, what the fuck's going on? I said, Dad, there's a bird out there, and he's calling me. And my dad says, what do you mean he's calling you? Did you see it? I said, no, I didn't see it. He says, well, if you didn't see it, it's not for you. And I said, well, you know, like, essentially like, okay, so it's not here for me. What have you been doing? Like, what are you up to?
Basically, he's hanging around for somebody that's from here.
And my dad, to this day, I'll never forget, my dad told me, don't you fuck with me, boy. Don't you ever fucking play that shit with me. You know, like this, if it comes for me, then it'll fucking show itself to me, blah, blah, this and that. My dad, weeks later, turns out he's been cheating on my mom for months.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it finally comes out and all this stuff like that. And you know, in a way, it was like it sensed, it smelled sin.
Yeah.
And it fucking came for him. And, you know, I would never fucking tell that. Years later, he says, you know, it came for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to admit it at the time, but I'm guilty of the sin, and I'm sorry that you had to go through it. You know? And it sounds so stupid to to go through, to talk about.
It's heavy, man.
But it's like
what the fuck?
it can fucking smell our sin on us, and it comes for you know, it's fucking horrible.
But just what was going on at the time, and it revolved around, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, gentlemen. Which
We still got a little bit of time
got a
left.
little time?
So you
All right,
can
I'm
just get a
just
little
making
bit. It's not that loud yet. Just
just making sure.
You know, the more of these I tell, the
okay. Now
dumber I
you want to
It's
start.
a buzzard of sin.
Might want to start now, Bob.
what it is.
I'm actually trying to help you out.
What the fuck it is.
You almost hit me in the face with your finger, bro.
Sorry, dude.
That was close.
Okay, I'm a little further away.
Yeah.
Just all right. Well, no, I mean this is a good at least stopping point because we can't get anything more done now. Until next show.
No, I know, but I was trying to help you out to wrap it up, man. See, here we go.
Anyway,
here we go.
Okay, now we can wrap it up.
All right.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be doing it up for the show. I appreciate it, Rob. Thank you for giving us our
No
stories.
sweat, thank you.
Tug Gravy, thank you for being here, sir.
Peace out.
Or the illustrious Nate.
Don't forget Sarah sitting in with us.
Sarah,
and
of course, Sarah's with
making fun of us in the entire time.
All right,
We're a bunch of idiots.
Mocking everyone.
Yes.
us. Share us, like us, subscribe us, listen if you can.
Yes.
And
Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, bitches.
yeah, Facebook's on the YouTube.
I'm going to have to go back and catch up on episodes.
Catch up on the
Yes.
episodes because you know what you were talking about. Anyway, this is the Blunderbuss Special. Thank you for listening. And
Happy Halloween, fuckers.
Happy Halloween. Hopefully we can get some more of these episodes.
Ooh.
I think it's better when Rob does it. He goes all, boo! I don't know how I can't do it. I can't do it. Boo! Like that. You just kind of have that bellow to it. I don't know what it is, but it's
It's either that or the sound of love.
yeah. Oh yeah, the sound of it. But no, don't do the sound low because it's not gonna go. I'll break the fucking mic. Yeah, no,
That's a whole story. We need to get Brent